I'll go ahead. I'm going to open the public hearing for the 2026-27 school calendar revision. Is there anyone here to speak about that? Okay, that hearing is now closed. I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Lori, would you please do roll call?
Abdurrahman.
Here.
Casey.
Here.
Rick. Allison.
Here.
Nick.
Here.
Gabe.
Here.
Braden.
Here.
Excellent. And I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Agenda is approved. We have no community public comments online or in person, so we're going to move right into presentations. We have Mr. Gallagher here tonight to kick it off with buildings and grounds. I know, I felt like I should really be formal.
Mr. is
Comments from Mr. Willoughby in the peanut gallery. Okay, I like this.
Okay, as most of you know, I'm Maury Gallagher. I'm the Buildings and Grounds Director for the district, and this is my leading into fall 2026 update. So our statement that we have within our team is to provide a safe, clean, and comfortable and inviting environment for our students, staff, and members of the community. And that's something we adhere to in our department and strive to do that every day. Our facilities at a glance, we have 10 attendance centers: the high school in Tiffin, the middle school in Tiffin, Amana Elementary in Middle Amana, Clear Creek Elementary in Oxford, Tiffin Elementary in Tiffin, Oak Hill Elementary in Tiffin, North Bend Elementary in North Liberty, East Ridge Elementary in Coralville, the Clipper Virtual Academy in Tiffin, and the Clipper Alternative Academy in Tiffin. We have two office buildings, the central office, which we're in, and the buildings and grounds office in the south side of Oxford. We have a transportation center and 3 auxiliary buildings in Tiffin. We have 2 farms, with one having 4 outbuildings. The buildings and grounds team maintains over 820,000 square feet of building space, occupying over 200 acres of regularly maintained ground. Our custodial team, as of right now, we have 31 full-time custodians, and we have a breakdown there of how many are in each building. We have our department leads, which we have myself as the director. We have a district grounds manager and a maintenance and custodial manager, as well as our administrative assistant. Our department structure, so it all flows through from the building level, would flow through the site manager, which is the building engineer. So that's who the custodial team report to in each respective building. The building engineers work in conjunction with the building principal to make sure that the day-to-day operational items in each building are getting accomplished. The building engineers then report to the maintenance and custodial manager, and then the maintenance and custodial manager would report to me. Our grounds manager, the groundskeepers report directly to the grounds manager, then also in turn the grounds manager reports to me, as well as our administrative assistant. So that is how our departmental flow works. I have a few potential future positions in there to allow for growth.
Sorry, Mark, let me zoom out there for you.
All right.
There you go.
So some of the items we have in our department, custodial and maintenance equipment, we have too much equipment to list on here, but some of the items are floor scrubbers, carpet extractors, our Kayvac touchless cleaning machine for restrooms and vacuums. That would be custodial equipment. Our grounds equipment can include anything from skid loaders to turf mowers to aerators. We have UTVs, seeders, we have an end loader, plus all of our trucks and snow plows, etc. We have a very large amount of equipment, and we are very well supported from an equipment standpoint, district-wide.
I don't see your new addition on that list there. Or you don't have it yet?
What's that?
You know, painting
Painter.
and all that.
Oh,
Line
you're
painter.
Oh,
right.
the line painter, yeah, should have had that on there.
All right.
Been using that.
Okay,
Breaking
yeah,
that in,
there
too.
you go.
Nice.
Yep. So, our equipment purchasing process, I know that's something that, some questions can be brought up on, but our key steps that we have for our department are, we want to develop a usable lifespan of the equipment. It's based on an assessment of overall usage, how many hours per year, frequency of use, as well as application of use. That will come into play especially with snow removal equipment. You have something that is spreading salt and sand all the time throughout the winter. Those are going to take a lot more abuse than something that wouldn't be used for that application. So we're constantly monitoring that when we're going to look at replacing equipment, especially the trucks. So then we assess and monitor the current condition of each piece of equipment, and we do that yearly. Sometimes the equipment holds up as we had hoped, sometimes it doesn't. So we just make sure we do that yearly. We have a 3-year plan for truck purchasing, and then again, those yearly assessments that we do on the condition of the vehicle. And that has worked very well for us. Typically, we can go with ordering that 1 vehicle per year. We have 14 trucks right now, so that is working for us until we add more fleet, which I don't see necessarily being something that we'll have to do. I think the 14 is a good amount. We get the work done, we have them well equipped, and right now we have a good plan in place for that. Then we identify specific equipment and vehicles yearly based on the listed criteria that I went through. Some of the past projects, as everyone knows, would be like the high school, North Bend Elementary, Tiffin Elementary, etc. Our new buildings, East Ridge being the newest that we opened 2 years ago. Some of our recently completed projects with the baseball, softball complex, the high school track resurface, and the roof upgrades at CCE. So with the last 2 I mentioned, the track surface has turned out very good. Had real good feedback so far on that. So that's obviously a good thing, and it's open for use. And then the roof upgrades, they are finishing up the flashing, which they were there today. Gutters are going on, so it's virtually complete for that. It's been a much needed improvement for CCE. Our current and future projects, high school, middle school additions are ongoing. Our Amana pool boiler would be a future that is coming up for potential discussion tonight. We have a quote for board approval. HVAC upgrades as identified, and middle school football, soccer field regrading that we have on our couple list. Department goals, staff development and retention. That is something that we just we're staying true with, because people are the most important part of our department. We can't do anything without good people. Project timelines and budget. Start and complete projects on time and stay within budget. That's going to be another goal that is it's just always going to be on the forefront of what we do. Sustainability, explore solar energy solutions. I think that is something that we still need to keep strongly consider options there, because it will directly affect our general fund, and we need to explore all kinds of energy conservation measures and how we can just stay true to that. Continue with the tree planting in areas. We've worked with the Rotary Clubs of Coralville, had a large tree planting event last fall, and we want to continue to do that. We actually have an arborist, a professional arborist on our grounds team. He came from the National Forest Service. He's done a fantastic job with tree pruning, identifying things, and keeping up on that. So we want to also keep exploring those options on how we can improve there. And then, of course, recycling and energy conservation measures as a whole. Some of the SMART goal accomplishments over this last year, through one of the environment was an overall, I think the SMART goal was provide and maintain modern facilities, grounds, and technology. We conducted a facility study using professional services, district stakeholders, and community members. I know Aaron had presented those results, and the community members presented the report in June. So I think that was a very good accomplishment that we were able to get through that through last year and work together on that. The health and well-being, maintain safe, secure school environments. We had in December, we had the completion of the school safety improvement grant, recouped over $300,000 of funding for all those improvements. So that was very good that we were able to wrap that up.
Is that one 100% recoup, or was there? I thought that the number was around 400 and some.
On the side that I did for the facilities improvements, it was like around 339,000, I think. I don't remember the very exact number.
Okay.
I know everything that we submitted from a envelope standpoint improvement was approved, and we recouped everything.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Some of the potential hurdles, and again, this is one of those ones that might sound like a broken record, but every year we have staffing, supply chain shortages, that there can be something every single year that comes up different. Budget, the state had their change in their PEP and save, how they recoup their funding for that this year, so that will have an effect on us. And then of course time. We only have so much time throughout either the summer or the course of the year to get things done.
Maury, can you clarify for the board, just when you say staffing?
Mhm.
Ability to hire, ability, like turnover, what are you referencing this?
What it's been so far is just getting qualified applicants has been a challenge. We have staff that they've been with the district for a long time, which is great. But custodial positions are typically tougher to hire for. We do compete against local municipalities also, and that has become a challenge. So those are all factors that come into play. We are virtually fully staffed in our department. We have one more open position, then we will be fully staffed. We thought we were. That candidate took a different position elsewhere. So that would be the staffing side of things. So, any questions for me?
I have 3.
Okay.
But I don't like to be put on the spot. So these are 3 things I've been thinking about, and for all board members to know, we can tweak them as we go. But after a retreat in January, I realized that often we ask you questions that are very focused on, like, can we do this different? Can we do this different? And I'm always curious though, and Gabe has done this before, to ask what brings you joy in your job.
PowerPoint presentation.
Perfect. Every month you're signed up.
But seriously, I would say having the trust to be the representative of the district for large projects, especially from concept all through design through completion, and then seeing the people come into those buildings and seeing what takes place. So from start to finish, and having that trust put in me and my team, I guess would definitely makes me proud. Yeah.
That's a great answer, and I'm glad it brings you joy, because it would terrify me to do those projects. But you do great. And if there is one thing you want us as board members to take away from tonight, like take home point about your department, what would it be?
Probably the sheer scale that Clear Creek Amana has as far as facilities are concerned. Just how widespread we are, how much square feet we have to maintain. That would be something that a lot of people don't realize.
It
I
is astounding.
appreciate that. Almost 1 million square foot. That's a big number.
And what can we as the school board do to support you and everyone in your department?
Keep doing what you're doing. We feel really supported. I'm on my 18th year now. I can honestly say that the past administration, school boards have been very supportive from a facility standpoint. So I'd say keep doing what you're doing. Ask questions. Don't be shy. If I can't get the answer for you right away, I'll get it somehow, because I think that's what everyone deserves. So that's what I would offer up.
Thank you.
Thanks, Maureen.
Yeah.
Thanks, Maureen.
Okay, now we'll have Ms. Westfall come up and present about HR, Human Resources.
Are you as pumped about this as you
So, it's nice to cup of tea for sure. Talking about our large groups, great. Yeah, I'm Catherine Westfall. I'm Director of Human Resources for the district. I have like a little summary of the things we'll go over. This is the similar presentation I've done every year, so that way you can kind of see the changes in numbers. And then I link the previous presentations so you can also go back and review them as well. So starting off, I'm talking about the 25-26 school year because that is all the conclusive data we have, right? If I started talking about this next school year, there's a lot of what ifs, and so I do want to clarify that. So our staffing, we have to do a certified basic educational data survey. It's called Staff Beds in October of every year. That is our snapshot in time of what our staffing is for that year. That's what we report to the state. And so that's the information I'm going off of. So I know Maury just shared what his staff looks like right now. That's not going to match, obviously, the information I'm sharing. So I just want to clarify that as well. So last school year, we had 619 employees total throughout the district. And that's the department breakdowns for all the employees. This equates to around 349 that are considered 1.0 FTE. So that would be teachers and then our year-round staff. And then I have our number of new hires. We had 107 new hires throughout the school year for the 25-26 school year. So all of those meet one-on-one with me. They meet with IT. They go into the buildings and do their onboarding within the buildings. And we get them all started and going. So I have it broken down between buildings on this side, and then on the next side I have it broken down between positions. Both are important. With this, our district environmental goal mentions the vacancy rate, and so I did list it on here as 2%, which is pretty consistent. We've stayed with that. Thankfully, while it is hard finding applicants, we do have fairly good luck and we're able to fill within a good time frame, getting them started. The hardest one to get started are bus drivers because there's a lot that goes into hiring a bus driver, so that takes a little bit longer. But then the national U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics rate for vacancy is 3.1, so we stay under that, which is good. I have our absentee rate here, and so this lists the 11,453 days that we had absences for the 25-26 school year. That's all types of absences, so that includes paid, unpaid, it includes half a day, a quarter of a day, a full day. It's just all one number. So in that, we had a 9.34% absenteeism, and so that was something to be aware of. And then I did also want to note, this last year was kind of interesting. May actually decreased the amount of absences, and that is not very common. We did have an administration staff that was asking their staff to be more present in May, knowing that the end of the school year was coming up, and it seemed to have worked because April was our largest, which is not typical, so that was a unique change this year. We have 3,351 days that we had substitutes, and we had 149 subs in the district, which equated to around $507,741. So again, for our launch, so for these days, that does include, again, the half days, full days, and long-term sub positions that are filling. So it includes all those dollars. I have the staff retention rate, which was at 74.9%. State average is a little bit above that, so that is definitely an area we would like to improve upon, and I know that was mentioned in our district environment goal as well. And so that is something we will be looking into more on what we can do to help with that. And then we have our overtime expenses, which did decrease this year, which is great to see. A lot of departments did a lot of work to make that happen. So we had $159,608 go to overtime. That is including FICA and IPERS. And then the breakdown between the departments does not include FICA and IPERS, to clarify. So if you try to go and add all those up, you're gonna get different numbers. But yes, that is our breakdown, and that was good to see. Again, we'll continue to have conversations about, is this the best way to utilize this? Should we be hiring a full-time? What can we do to help minimize more expenses in this area? We had around 110 terminations, and I have it broken down here, but 81% of them were from resignations, and so that's all listed on there as well. And then on the next slide, I do exit interviews, and so this is cumulative data of those exit interviews, where the majority of them were due to moving away or career changes or personal situations, which is pretty standard to see and expected. Then I have the turnover rate for the district, which did go down, which was great to see. Went to 9, and then that red line is the state, or is the average, and that is at 12. That is the state average. On the next slide, it's a very busy slide, so remember these numbers that were the blue and that red is the state average, because then this is all of our peer group, which includes Bondurant-Ferrara as a similar quickly growing district, as well as some area schools for us that we would be competing with essentially. So I'm glad to see that number coming down. That's one we want to see. Then we didn't have any early resignations because we had the voluntary early retirement program. So again, kind of anticipated that. We did have 10 out of the 12 participants or slots filled for the early retirement, and so that was good to see. We didn't have any late resignations last school year. We have already had 2 late resignations for this next school year, and we'll see how the rest of the school year goes, but that will be just an update on that policy that we did add within my time here, so I give updates on that one as well. For our year in review, we switched to Pivot for the evaluation portal for our teachers. That was after our TQ committee reviewed it, and we had the high school pilot it last year, and so now we have all the buildings doing it this year. We had a good workers' compensation audit, and we were trying to prevent additional high dollar claims. We were able to decrease it enough to help our mod factor out, which when we help that helps our insurance rates, which is a positive thing for us. And then we also switched our third-party benefit change from iSolve to EBS in the district due to customer service concerns. We had a lot of concerns from staff, and we just weren't getting the results we were wanting, so we did switch that. And then with this new change, we also were able to provide benefit cards, which has been increasing the education of the partially split funded account that we offer. I don't think staff necessarily always understood that, and I think now they're learning more about it with that card. So hopefully that helps continue to educate on that piece. Otherwise, I'm looking ahead that our environmental goals, again, we want to look at that staff retention and vacancy rate. We'll continue with comparables, and I'll continue meeting with the health, wellness, and security teams to see what we can do to continue improving all of those areas. Otherwise, that's all I had.
Anyone else have questions? before I do the three. She got a preview of them. What brings you joy?
Did. I am very fortunate. I really enjoy my job has a lot of diversity in it. I'm not doing one thing every day. Sometimes that's a little hectic, but I do really enjoy that. I also appreciate the impact that I can have and hopefully positively impacting for the staff and the students in the district and seeing that when you're in the buildings.
What's the thing you most want us to take away from your presentation? And what
Yeah. So I have a lot of numbers on here, and so it's a lot of numbers and figures and dollar amounts, but all of those tie to people who are doing really incredible work in the buildings. And so I do want everybody to remember that, because that is, I mean, all these numbers and all these dollars are important, but the people are doing a lot with a little bit, so that's important to remember for me.
What can we do to support you?
I would say continuing with kind of recognizing the staff and focusing on that. That helps with the culture, which helps with retention, which helps me. And so I would say continuing that and making sure everybody realizes that everyone's role in the district from all angles is helpful to the staff and students. So that'd be it.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, the reports. Yeah, the building projects. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, we're gonna do the building projects update report, since we have somebody from Five Hattery here tonight, and then we'll transition over to Dr. Scher's presentation, because she would like to get on the road before it's dark out, and I'll come back to report. Okay? Which I also, the deer are crazy right now, I feel like, so totally get that. So we'll go ahead and, Maury, do you want to come up? Oh, it's Shive Hattery too, and Ray, all three. Want to come up and do some building report, or do you want to start it?
Yeah, I can go through the other projects there real quick, because
Okay.
I don't think there'll be a lot of input there. They're pretty cut and dry. So we'll start out with the Clear Creek Elementary roof replacement. I did touch on that a little bit. So they're wrapping that up. It's going good. We will have a few things around the site to clean up. That's some of the equipment damaged. So I'm working with the contractor on getting those things resolved. But the roof project itself has gone really well, and they're just about complete with that. Then the high school track resurfacing, and that went very well, and it's open for use. It looks really good. North Park Road construction, so the city of Tiffin's contractor is behind a little bit. They will not have the full road open when school starts. We will continue just like we did last year. Traffic will come in from the south, and all of our routing will be like it was last year until the full north section of Park Road is open, which they anticipate, I believe, early October is when that's going. So we've been in close contact with them. They're working on making sure we have access into Oak Hill specifically for back to school night tomorrow, and we were assured that would happen. So that's where we're at with those three projects. So any questions on those? Okay. All right.
Go ahead, you're talking.
You're the boss on
No,
this.
last time we saw you, I think we were waiting on building permits, so I'm assuming we got those?
With the building on the high school, we're putting in the footings, the utilities have been relocated, everything's back in operation. All the water's back on, I think. It's been on and off so many times, it's kind of hard to keep track of. But right now, they're down to flushing, just a chunk in behind the high school that they relocated. The rest of it is on and running. Footings are going in at the high school, in the walls, so we're starting to come out of the ground. We probably will leave out a chunk of the footings until the precast is here and set on the south side of by the gym, so they can get in and get it set. Over at the middle school, the reinforcing's been done on the trusses. That was quite a fiasco and a mess. We had to take all the ceiling tile down, all of the ceiling framing, lights and everything to get up into the joists to reinforce them. But that's been done and that's all back and it's ready for operation. Outside, the utilities, the water's been relocated, storm sewer's been relocated, and we're waiting on the manholes and the boring crew to come to do the crossing and stuff for the cemetery, so. And then that'll be done. And that'll probably be another week, 10 days, maybe 2. Outside of that, we've been moving along. It don't look like much until it starts out of the ground, so we're started out of that, so. And we run into a couple other little problems. Talked up with Aaron and it's the fire department, which has been known for changes. So we're having to put on a little pump house for them, so it'll be at the corner of the theater and northwest corner of the addition. So.
That's the potential change order.
That's a potential change order, pretty good size, huh?
It was like 25,000?
15 to 25. is what-
25.
Yeah.
Is there any questions around that? I know that we have some.
Yeah, I know I had questions. I know Nick did too. I think we're kind of the same wavelength. I think mainly the question is that at our last meeting we had a change order 2 or something change related to TIF and code. And now this one seems to maybe be changed to tied to TIF and code, and Shive Hattery's estimates maybe not matching what they or being what they need to be because of code. And so I'm just, it happens once, we kind of look, we ask, does this happen again? It happens again. Now I'm a bit apprehensive about all the other numbers. And so are there other, like, if we're looking at TIF and code, where else could this come up? Where else could in this building process, there's going to be a code that was misinterpreted and now it's going to cost more money?
I'll let you answer that.
Ray's like, that's not part of my job.
Well, the building design process is pretty complex. I mean, there's a million different things. There's a million, the IBC, IFC, Tiffin's local code, a lot of different interpretations of those things. And so when it comes to like fire marshal items, sometimes those things can actually run down to like operational standpoint, not even code related items. Fire marshal can ask for things that he needs because of his own operation or his volunteers and how they're going to operate when an event does happen. So sometimes these things come up in a sense of, what their understanding is at the time. Something like this fire sprinkler room, I think there was just there was a misunderstanding of how Tiffin wanted their fire sprinkler room not to be housed inside of the storm shelter. A lot of mechanical, other electrical items need to be independent systems that in an event of a storm, they can fully become operational. The fire sprinkler, however, is the one item that can be housed outside for the fire department. So that was the scenario of kind of relocating that to the northwest corner. Hopefully that kind of answers where.
I think, I don't want to speak for you, Allison, but in my conversation with another board member as well, is there a way that could be minimized moving forward, though, I guess, to give the board reassurance that we're not going to have these potential change orders? I realize the change order is not in front of the board for approval yet, but the 25,000 here and there will quickly add up, so.
Yes, I agree. And I think, the building process can be kind of complex in a sense of, change orders are some sort of number in the design phase of what we need to have for contingency for these kind of situations. I think our goal is always to minimize those. Going forward, we always want to catch those problems early on to reduce that number in construction. I think we always try to evaluate in that sense.
So is the fire department you don't consult the fire department up until now, or?
We have preliminary meetings in the design process. I wasn't part of the design process, but they do have those. And really those are more broad strokes in a sense of like fire lanes, fire access. But really when they get into the weeds of things, that's when that permitting process where they really kind of start looking at what everything is included in there.
I think you referenced you weren't part of the design process, and so for me it does bring up some just uncertainty around both of these. Kind of in the last 2 meetings we've had major kind of changes come up, and I expect change orders, but they also came on the heels of major transitions within who's managing the project from Shive Hattery's perspective. And so I think that's also where some of my uneasiness comes from, is just, you can't speak to personnel, we can't speak to any of that, but how do we know the district should be paying this, and not that this isn't part of, oh, there's sudden transition and who's managing our project and things got lost in translation, and this shouldn't actually be on Shive Hattery to compensate for.
Yes, I think, the previous architect, Tandy, this project had all been designed and stamped and under Shive Hattery's name, and then there was her departure. So for the most part, the transition of personnel wouldn't have much of an effect on what is going forward, especially with this fire sprinkler thing. That's more or less a fire marshal conversation. These kind of changes that go and ebb and flow in the process going forward is more or less what we're identifying on site. We're there to hopefully reduce and mitigate any construction mishaps, and that's kind of where I come in. And I have a lot more experience in construction than maybe some other people do. But I think that's kind of hopefully answers your question a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that helps.
Does this event trigger some kind of an internal review on your side to go back and to the design process to see, okay, what else might have we missed? This affects the high school. Middle school is building also some kind of a storage. I know it's not a shelter, but what else might have been missed in the middle school that could bring up change order?
Well, the middle school does have their storage shelter. They don't have a fire sprinkler system in the same sense, but our internal process can kind of vary. For this project, there was a QA/QC kind of later in the period, which is probably kind of typical. That's a quality control, kind of like review, sorry. Yep. And so when situations like this, we try to really understand with the fire marshal if there's anything else to try to really all encompass and bring this in. I know early on in projects, that's where you're going to see more of your bigger items as you're getting those foundations, footings, all those layout things. You're having, building officials, fire marshal, everybody's looking at this all in the same sense with the time crunch of getting this building up. So I think that's when we're seeing this big rush in the beginning here. And we can take that information back and kind of do a thorough review of is there anything else related to this that we're missing, not including, especially since we are dealing with two different buildings here, kind of applying that logic both ways.
I had the same problem with the middle school when it was being built. That came up at the last minute, and I had to stick it under the stairwell at the west entrance, just north of the office, to accommodate the same thing.
Okay.
And it wasn't required before, and it really wasn't required with the design at that time, but it was more or less to accommodate the city and its needs. Because the city of Coralville, the state was all right with the way things were, and the state was ones that were in charge of the inspection at that time. And Tiffin wasn't doing that, but the city of Coralville was backing up the city of Tiffin's fire department. And they already came in and made the request, not very pleasantly, but before we could occupy the building, we had to go through the steps of putting it in.
I think as we go forward to working with the city of Tiffin, now that they have their own code officials, we can streamline our processes with reviews, especially with whoever our design team might be. Just make sure that that correspondence is happening well in advance to bidding the project out. I know in the past if you're dealing with multiple code officials, you're getting multiple interpretations. That's difficult. So if we're dealing with just one code official going forward, we can certainly have things in our processes that I would help with to maybe make sure all the quality control is happening prior to the actual bidding of the project.
And the other thing was we're in the city of Tiffin's in the was in the process of their plan examiner, inspector, whatever you want to call it, was going through and checking it, and he was in the process of getting out the door, so.
They're dealing with turnover themselves right now.
So to kind of tie off what Ray said, so Tiffin didn't have a municipal fire marshal, so the state would have overseen that. But now that they have their municipal fire marshal, we don't have to worry about the state. They kind of
Well, the state used to do all the inspections on all the schools.
Yep.
Until what, till we started the grade school. I think we, at Tiffin Elementary, we were in the process of going from the state to the city. And then we had joint city. We had Tiffin and Coralville was working together at that time. Again, the state was involved, but never said, so.
So is this change to accommodate code or the operations of the fire department?
Code, I think is the way I understood it.
Is that local?
Yeah,
Local-
there's
local code.
I think IFC like 904 they adopted, and then there'll be some minor tweaks for operational standpoints in the sense of the existing FDC. So that's more operational, but that's more minor.
Nick, do we get your question
Yeah,
fully answered?
Again, I go back to your original question. It just, it seems like more should have been done ahead of time by Shive to run things through the city before we approve it and plan our budget out for it. And so I hope you take that back to your company. Because again, these things, the fire marshal marshal at Tiffin's been there since 2023. I still, even with your answers, I don't understand how that change wouldn't be recognized until now when we had plans.
Yeah, and we can go forward, making more of an emphasis on making sure that we get those plan reviews so we can understand those operational and code items earlier on, kind of like what Maury was saying, to make sure that going forward we can mitigate these risks.
I'm just gonna add on to what Nick said too on the budget front. So East Ridge was a little bit more forgiving because that was the front end of the bond that we had. So maybe we can spend a little more on East Ridge and kind of tweak the little project a little bit. But this is the tail end of the bond. So we have no room to grow that budget. So we need to be cognizant on that. And, for future change orders, I mean, that's going to be pretty tight for us to approve it in a sense, right? So just kind of feedback for Shive for possible future changes. So
Yeah.
Thank you.
thank you.
Well, we have the immense privilege and honor of having some time with Dr. Shares tonight. So for those of you who weren't on the board in, let's see, the spring semester of 2025? Yeah, I was like, what year? 5, right? Okay. Yeah, this is Dr. Denise Shares, who was our interim superintendent and previous superintendent. So it's a delight to have you back here.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here. And I did bring treats, so at any time, please do help.
Yeah, she always brings treats,
Yes.
and she doesn't care if you go get food.
No, not at all. That's what it's here for. And I just came from Amana Elementary this afternoon, working on another aspect of the grant. And they too showed up with treats, So, if you feed them, they will come. I think that you would come anyway, but it's delightful to be here with you. And as Allison said, I know most of you, and I did have the opportunity to meet Braden and Casey, who I didn't work with previously. And I was going to give Rick a bad time, but you'll have to give him a bad time before I'm here because he was on the first time that I was here. So we were just doing this activity when we were in the elementary about how many years you've been in public education. and we had to line up, and I was so far off the end that this is my 48th year in public education, so I've done a lot of things. I was a family and consumer science teacher so long ago, it was called home ec. So people call me their old home ec teacher, and I tell them I prefer former family and consumer science. And worked in the central office, did a number of things, worked for the Department of Ed, did a number of things. But when I left here in 2013 as superintendent, I was associate superintendent in Waterloo, and I've gone back to do some work with them. But when I left in 2013, you and I asked if I would come help work in the superintendent program. And at the time, we weren't training enough superintendents to meet the demand. So I said I would do it for a couple years, help them out. And 9 years later, I am still actually working with them. We were writing a grant to the Kern Family Foundation, and actually we've been funded twice, which were, I think, the only grantee that's been funded twice. And it was really, they came and saw the work that we were doing at the University of Northern Iowa, and they said, how can we help you take it to scale? And the work we were doing was working to support leaders. So we wrote a grant. The first one was just over $600,000, and the second one that we wrote just before I left was, I think, 1.3 or 1.6 million. Someone else is facilitating that at this point. So we've been extremely fortunate. The Kern Family Foundation founded the Generac generator company, and they sold it. Some of you are so young you won't remember this, but remember 1999, 2000, and we all thought all the lights were going to go off. They sold it right before that, and the line is they could have purchased an island in Tahiti, but instead they invested in a foundation with the full purpose being flourishing communities. And I actually had the opportunity to meet Mr. Kern the first time we went. He's from Osage, Iowa, so I think we had a little bit of an in. I like to say the grant was really well written, but I think the Iowa Connect didn't hurt at all. And we took cookies. But we found out. No, we didn't really. We sent them afterwards, after we got it, because we didn't want them. But we were just extremely fortunate that they recognized that a strong educational system is the cornerstone of a flourishing community. So they've invested in a lot of leadership kinds of activities. So what our grant does is it works with school boards, it works with leaders, it works with teachers, all in just doing the next right thing. It's called Leading and Learning with Character. And the whole focus is around building communities and school communities of character. So the work that we're doing with the Amana Elementary is we're writing a 100-page book about, there's 100 virtues, and if you've never seen the list of 100 virtues, there are things like courage and determination and resilience. There are things, today we did, we got A through C. We wrote the first 20 pages in about an hour. They were phenomenal. We did feed them well, had to kind of get their energy back up, because I think it's been a long week already, and it's only Wednesday for them. But the work is really, how do we get people talking about just doing the right thing? Because we know that to really be successful, it's about treating one another and serving one another in the way that is just the next right thing. So it's been incredible work, and I've been very privileged to be a part of it. And I'm excited to be here with you, and we're gonna move through just a couple activities, because as I see the agenda and hear the conversation, I know that doing the next right thing is in your heart too, but sometimes there's just a lot of things to consider as you determine that next right thing. So again, I appreciate the time with you. One of the things that I was thinking about driving here, and you see I have scratch paper in my car, and so I try to write on this side, is I think Clear Creek Amana has participated in more of the activities that the grant offers than any other district that we serve. So your team has been through the leadership camp, which is a camp based on the leadership standards that prepares them to evaluate teachers. So just in spring of 2025, we went to that, and some of them actually had gone through it before. They then participated in the coaching opportunities. So we offer follow-up coaching, leadership coaching. I think I have 43 people this school year that I'm working with, but I worked with the Clear Creek team last year. They've done a think tank, which is just bringing school leaders together, talking about, we always say, what's keeping you up at night? And they say, do we have to pick just one thing? And so we kind of process through the challenges they're facing in a team. This is actually the second school board dialogue Lori, I know, remembers it, but I know that Kara was on the board. I don't think Rick was on the board at the time. Matt Lehman, Matt McGreevy, that group. I think it was around 2018, 19. It was one of the first ones we did. And then the Amana Elementary is the first school to do the implementation grant. So it's how do we actually bring this to life with this work around character. So they're writing prompts for each virtue, adult prompt, lower elementary, upper elementary, and then one for senior citizens. So today we did awe, and one of the prompts was kind of what you were saying, Allison, what brings you joy, but it's what brings you wonder, because that's kind of what awe is. And the one that they wrote for the, as they work with senior citizens, was in your life, what's the thing that's brought you the most awe or wonder? Now, wouldn't you just love to listen to the little second or third graders talking to, well, I probably relate to that because I'm a senior citizen, I'm the grandma of the group. But I'm gonna try with my grandkids, the ones, some of those that they wrote. But, so the district has really engaged fully, and I appreciate that very much. It's been a lot of fun. So what you have before you, and again, we'll let you do most of the talking now, are a couple of things. The work is really grounded, that we're going to talk about today, is grounded in the standards for school boards. We work with school boards across the state, and many school boards don't realize that they have standards. I'm sure that you've been introduced to them, and I know you work some with IASB. It's just like teachers have standards, leaders have standards, school boards have standards as well. So we'll take a look at that. And then you also have a policy. I think it used to be everybody's 203, but now it's most people's 204, policy 204. And that's what it is in your policy manual. And you can see that fairly recently you took a look at this particular policy, but it really spells out how boards work to be as ethical as possible, doing that next right thing. And you'll see that it's broken up into sections. As a school board member, as part of the district community, a relationship with the superintendents, and on the backside, cooperating with other school boards. So what we're going to do, to process just a little bit, that's your policy. I know you've just reviewed it, you're probably fully aware, but we're gonna have you in teams of 2. So let's just do Lori and Casey and Aaron and Allison, Abdurrahman and Gabe and Nick and Braden in teams of 2. If you would take a section. So Nick and Braden, if you would take as a school board member, the district and community, Gabe and Abdurrahman, relationship with the superintendent and employees, there, Allison, that we're done just perfectly, Allison and Aaron, and then other school boards, Lori and Casey will let you scoot close together so you can visit. Just read down through your assigned section, and then pull out one of the numbers in your assigned section that you think would be a good conversation piece for this board at this moment. So what might we be talking about as a board that really kind of is important to us right now? And then we'll just let you share that and then your why for selecting that one. So we'll give you just a few minutes. You guys got the longest section, but what kind of resonates with you that would be good to point out to the board?
Okay. And you picked that one because of some of the things that have been going on in like many area schools across the state.
Right, yeah.
Kind of.
It seems like it applies
Yeah.
close, closer
Right
than the
now,
others
it's
do
here,
to us.
right. Right.
Covers up some of the others too. Yeah, you tell me.
Oh, good. That's what I did too. Oh, perfect. See, I worked it.
Because it's that, I think it's just something you keep in mind. Yeah. And,
Because
it
the
seems
first
like
one is
more of our
definitely
discussion.
just don't do it. you know, I mean,
Very timely.
it's respectful of the work that the other boards are doing, and this one too is, you know, we don't need to embarrass or, we need to support our neighboring districts, I guess is what I should say, right?
Yeah.
As they encounter
2 and 3 kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, they would go hand.
Kinda
All
go
3 of them
together.
go hand in hand, really. But I
They
just don't
do.
feel like one
They do.
comes up for us.
We're getting there. I feel like one is like.
I think this one kind of, number 3 kind of comes a little bit to the, I don't wanna say top, but with the upcoming school board, you know, that's always a great opportunity to talk about things that are going on in other districts and other boards are facing and some of those type of things too, so.
When I
can-
very first started, joined those initial calls,
Yeah,
And we're not,
every school district's quite different. Is what I
they
found
are,
out from
yeah,
that, yeah.
no doubt, and they all face their own
learning.
challenges, and,
Like, oh no.
so. It's interesting too. I think it's always interesting, that's what I enjoy about the, convention in
You
all
guys
of
are
my
ready with
years.
the first section. We'll just have you give us the number, so you were as a school board member, the number that you thought kind of rose to the top of your resume with you and why.
We said number 8, just because that's something we should strive to keep in mind as far as spending more time on educational programs and procedures than on business details.
Has that surprised you at all there is to consider?
A little bit. I mean, joining board recently, I was just saying that's kind of the nature of it, I feel like.
Does anybody, and Nick, your thoughts?
yeah, I think we were talking that we're also not, none of us are in education directly ourselves, so being able to get more of the feedback from the teachers and staff as the pros and cons and pluses and minuses of any of the programs that they're working on is important, so we can better understand their perspective on those things.
And of the opportunities that you have for that, what's been most helpful for you?
You know, to me, it's at the end of the day, it's the numbers and seeing the statistics of anything that's grown or regressed, and so that we can see direct results from changes in educational programs and how they've affected, hopefully improved our students' abilities.
Nick, you've been on the board how long?
2 years now.
2 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Gabe and Abdurrahman, that second section, what did you pick?
We picked number 5. I will represent the entire school district rather than individual electors, patrons, or groups. For me, that one was kind of came to the top as we were talking. A lot of the times when people reach out to us, there's typically a problem or a reason that has spun them up enough that they feel like we're going to solve that. So it's always nice to kind of bring it back and look bigger picture and realize we're not there to necessarily solve their problems, but we can direct them to the potential solution to them with various resources and people that's their wheelhouse.
What's been, or how have you gone about kind of balancing that need to help with knowing that the responsibility is really
Yeah, for me, it's letting people know that it's not that I'm dismissing their concern or, passing it off, but like voicing that I understand you're frustrated with something, let me direct you to who can possibly help that. That way they're not feeling like, blown off, but at the same time, wanting to respect and not overstep my role to somebody who should be handling that particular thing. So they also feel like I wasn't undercutting them or something like that.
Is it pretty clear when a concern arises who it should go to? I mean, do you have enough information to kind of know?
Yeah, I
Where-
think
where to
so,
take
and
it?
I can't think of a time that I wouldn't know who to direct it to, or at least know who to ask, who could potentially help them out.
When we were preparing superintendent students, that when they got ready to find a job, the first question they ask is, what's the board like? And, you know, I mean, it just makes such a difference in who's interested, but what you describe is a board member, a board that understands their role, and even when it's hard, works to stay within that role. And that's what people are, that's what successful boards do, but that's what people are looking for. And when they heard if boards weren't able to stay in their lane all the time, and that happens to all of us sometimes, but they just weren't interested. You know, they were just like, and those districts had trouble finding superintendents because, you know, they didn't understand what you're describing. So I'm doing well. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, 5 was the first one to me. I mean, Gabe brought up number 2, which is somewhat similar. You know, kind of touching back to what he says. I mean, I'm not on the board for myself, for my kids, or I'm on the board to make our community more welcoming to everybody. So representing all our student body and making sure, you know, there's representation for all subpopulation that choose to come to CCA. It's a choice. So making sure that they're heard and concerns are directed to the right personnel or people and hopefully addressed to the best of our ability. As far as what do we do to satisfy that, I mean, we go back to the policy making. You know, policy making is where the discussions happen, and then once we all agree to adopt a policy, that's our guiding star in a sense, right? So decision made at the table or not, hopefully not opinion based, but factual or policy guided. Again, if something doesn't seem right, we go back at the policy level and discuss it and, you know, finesse it a little bit and come up with a better understanding. But we have to have that guiding principle that, you know, sets our course. So, yeah.
And after mine, remind me how long you've been on.
Contiguously or in and out. So full term here for 2 years, and then 6 months before that. So I'll say three. Yeah, 3 or 4 years.
A fairly young board.
Yes. Yep. Compared to who was here before us. So yes.
Thank you. Allison and Aaron, you had relationships with the superintendent and employees.
Okay, and we cheated. We kind of picked 2 because, sorry, yeah, different perspectives. I had my instinct that I think number one, I will recognize that my responsibility as governance, not management, is hard for me. And so yeah, but just coming from a variety of perspectives, that can be hard for me, and so I have to kind of always go over that. But Aaron felt a different one.
For me, number 6, I will expect superintendent to keep the board adequately informed through oral and written reports. I think our board, even though it's a fairly new board, again, with the amount of turnover in my seat, like that's probably looked different based on the person that was sitting in it. So the more consistency we can have there, I think it's going to be better received and a little bit clearer, or it's able to be articulated in a way that everybody's on the same page, so it doesn't come in a different format or a different style.
Like that, because they're kind of related. Like the more that communication's clear, the less I think we as a board feel like we have to be in management to kind of go together.
Yep.
And it kind of ebbs and flows a little bit. Sometimes there are times that boards, you know, are a little bit more in that area, and then the work from school board association and the standards would say they're at their highest level of functioning when they're not in the management part. But necessity is sometimes that you have to dip your toe in that a bit. But knowing that, like you're saying, that as soon as you can come back out, it's probably the best. Thank you. And the last one, other school boards.
Yeah, we discussed both 2 and 3 a little bit. but number 2 is I will consider it unethical to pursue any procedure calculated to embarrass a neighboring board or its representatives. So, these were tough, honestly, for me, because it was like they seem like almost no-brainers, looking at them, but I think they're important. For sure. 3 kind of jumped out, and we discussed a little bit of some open calls we've done with other boards, and just seeing that all school districts are different. It's not really very cookie cutter, so these apply to each district a little bit differently. And I found that interesting when I very first started those early calls. Very tiny districts to very, very large ones on the same call. It was interesting.
And when you say calls, Casey, they board?
Virtual calls, the introductory ISB calls. Yes, yep. So that's what it made me think of.
We did talk about 2 and 3. I would lean probably towards 3, and I think maybe that's fresh in my mind as the upcoming board convention is, soon to arrive. And I think it's the best part of when I was on a board, as well as being an employee, is to be able to get together with other districts and learn about the struggles or the challenges that some of those boards and their districts are facing. And I think just to all learn together, and you can learn from what other folks have gone through to be able to anticipate anything that might come our way.
And sometimes you come home thinking, our problems aren't
aren't so big.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
Kind of a
There's others in the same boat.
Yes. Well, again, it's your policy, and I know you're very familiar with it. What I think we don't always consider, though, is the importance of really discussing it, and what do those words mean to me. So if it's an ethics policy that I'm committing to as a board member, what does that really mean in practice that I'm saying is important, or that I do? So thank you for taking a minute to take a look at that one. The other thing that I would just point out that we won't really take a lot of time with this evening, but you'll see the Standard 4 dialogue guide. So we're going to take a look now at the school board standards, which is that placemat version that looks like this. And Standard 4 is the standard that most directly aligns to the work in ethics, so kind of like the policy that you just talked about. But at both Erin and Allison's place, I did leave a packet that has all the standards. But this is just an example. I just want you to know that as you consider perhaps furthering this conversation, some boards, do a work session every month and they just take one prompt. But what we've done here, and we actually published it, and you'll see the citation there in the School Board Journal, National School Board Journal, is Standard 4, if you just look there, is broken into policy, legal, ethics, and transparency. So we just took each of those categories and wrote a discussion prompt. So it would be things that boards, or you can just reflect on whatever it might be, that you can go further into the standards or a little bit deeper into the standards. So 2 copies of the full packet, and then you each have the sample packet. So if you'll take out for the next activity the placemat version and the bag of pennies. So take a look at those things. Times are tough, they retire the pennies, but then we bring them back in. So, now we haven't used them, we've been doing this for a long time. So in your bag, you should have 21 pennies. So I'll have you, first of all, count and make sure that you have 21, because sometimes the people before you kind of thought it'd be funny if we would, and usually the SBO immediately counts the pennies anyway, because I'm gonna make sure that the book's balanced here. But make sure that you have 21 pennies. Have them, otherwise I have some extra. Okay.
think I have 20.
You only have 20?
But-
Yeah, that out of
Maybe
I
I
think I
can't
might have
count
an
it.
extra.
I think I might have 22, but
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
miscounted, so.
Okay, that's 5.
That's what I'm doing.
10,
That's the 5, yeah.
Yeah.
15.
Everybody else have on 20?
Okay, yeah.
21.
Now I have 21. Okay.
Yeah, it should
Yeah, I
be
got
21
22.
pennies, and I'm not actually sure why 21, except that you have to make a forced decision when you take them. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your 21 pennies and you are going to place them, so it's very visual. You're going to place them on the standard that at this time in the district, you feel needs to be the focus of the work of the board, and you're gonna do that proportionally. So if I think working to develop a visionary team is by far the most important, I could put 9 pennies on that. I can put all 21 if I wanted to, but most people think more than one is important. So there's no rule that says you have to have pennies on every square. We've done this with many, many districts. Usually there is, but you don't have to. People always ask that. And you're gonna place your pennies where you believe the focus of the board and the district need to be at this point. And then we're just gonna do a quick go around and you're gonna tell us why, numbers, how many pennies on each standard and why. Okay, so take a few minutes, the penny activity.
This is supposed to be hard, I take it.
It's supposed to be fun.
Hard to decide. Yeah.
It's terribly hard. Decide if it was going out or not. And which one?
Write it.
Because now I'm like,
Like, how many is there?
Who's gonna have more than 21?
well, I was one short, but I'm just gonna add my virtual penny to one of the piles.
Yep, you're gonna draw one on.
And then whoever is ready can start us off. And you're just going to, again, it's just kind of a collective, very visual way to say, here's where the focus of our, maybe it's kind of like put your money where your mouth is, but where our collective energy might best be utilized this next week. So who would like to start?
I'll start.
Thank you.
Can I take data notes on this?
Yes, absolutely.
For me, I put 6 pennies on standard 2, student learning. At the end of the day, we're in the business of educating our students, providing, effective leadership, quality instruction, and high quality and equitable. So I think that's students learn differently, recognizing that and shaping our programming to fit or meet them where they're at, right? So there's some stuff that we control, some stuff that we don't control. So do our best ability to meet them where they're at. Second important for me, I had 5 coins on district culture. So, I mean, you can have all the good intention, but if you don't have a culture that people buy in, it's kind of hard to grow and keep building on it. So, making sure people come here for what the district stands for and want to stay here for what the district stands for and contribute to that culture to make it one of the best places to work and the community choosing this place as one of the best places to come and learn and stay and grow. So. And then I got 4 coins on advocacy for public school. This day and age where resources are being squeezed, whichever way you look at, making sure that our stories go out there. As a public entity, we're entrusted with the public resource, and we try our best to make the right decision for our students by putting the money where our we feel our local priorities are. So, and we can't do it by ourselves, so we need legislative help as well as public help to kind of help tell us our kids' stories and celebrate their successes. So, I got 3 coins on visionary team. Operate as visionary governance in partnership with superintendent. Again, you can have the best performing team, but if you don't have a clear leader that people are willing to listen to, follow, and execute their vision, it kind of a boat that sits around and circles around without really somewhere to go. Kind of reflecting on my speech here. So, yeah, having that strong relationship between the board and your superintendent goes a long ways into making the community feel like we know where we're going, we trust each other, and easy to, listen to what we're saying and trust us, and then hopefully we can get to reap the benefits of what we discuss or what we enact. Last item I have 3 pennies on fiscal responsibility. If we're asking for help at the state level for public, education needs for our students, we need to show that we are able to take care of that, those resources that are given to us. So making smart decisions, making decisions that make sense, and at the end of the day, help us deliver our promises to whoever we're asking for resources for, be in the community by taxes, or the state government, the legislator from budget allocation and all that other stuff. So those are my top 5 out of the 6 that we got. So,
Thank you, and thanks for getting us started.
thank you.
Okay, we'll go on.
Sure, so, the shock of no one, I analyzed this pretty well, so. All of them are important, so I kind of started by putting a penny on each one. I think in a perfect world, I know 21 isn't divisible by 6, so that I can remember from school. I'm gonna have equal number on all of them, but I looked at what I thought was kind of, not weakness is probably not the best term, but what I think we're doing good at, I had the least amount of pennies on. So the visionary team, I think we work pretty well together and we're good at that. So like, that's not where I think our resource should be. But obviously we're trying to balance the UAB, get it down, get those things up. So I started with 6 on my fiscal responsibility, and then I just kind of went down in order, 5, 4, 3, down to 1. So for 5, I went to the district culture, because to me, I think that can help solve a bunch of other things. So getting that in a good space, I think we're getting there currently. I just think if we keep chipping away at that as we go forward, the rest will take care of itself. So down to my number 4 was the student learning. Again, kind of like we've discussed here, trying to focus back on that sometimes and not totally get tied up in all the business aspects and all the managerial things that comes with the work we do. Advocacy, I had down at 3. This one, obviously, like he touched on, dollars are tighter, resources are tighter, all of those things. So what can we do to sell our brand, so to speak, and work within those constraints that unfortunately a lot of times we don't have control over. And then two, down to the policy and legal, I think we have a pretty solid base there. Again, it's not that I don't see these as important, it's just that's less of where I think our focus needs to be. And obviously if we need to switch, if something comes up, be able to move around. That's where I landed.
Thank you.
This isn't a cop-out, but my strategy was exactly the same as Gabe's, and
Really mine.
almost
Sit right by each other too. Weird.
And I echo basically just about everything he said. You know, I started with so I gave 6 coins to number 5, just because there are so many changes coming from the state level and from our UAB risk, and just being witness to districts around us that have had some recent hardships and not wanting to go through anything like that. So that's why I think fiscal responsibility is my largest number of coins. Number 3, district culture, was my second one. Again, just like you said, we're rolling in the right direction, and it will help solve a lot of issues. My next one is actually advocacy. After that, it's slightly different, but I foresee, or I'm hopeful, that there are changes in the horizon at the state level that will benefit public schools, and so if we can be ready to advocate for us with new leadership, that will bode well for us and other public schools. Then number 2, student learning. Again, I think that's because we're already in the right spot, right? Got the right people in place and doing the right things. Followed by policy and legal, and then visionary team. The visionary team, if we'd done this last year, that would have been, my stack would have been a lot bigger there. But I think we had a great first year, and getting that started. So the need for focus on that is less this year.
Thank you. Great.
So I went through it, kind of just looking at it for my thoughts on this year. So I didn't put anything on the visionary team one, because I felt like this year was pretty good in that respect. Student learning portion, that was where I started piling up the pennies immediately. And then after that, I think.
How many pennies did you have there?
I had 5 actual pennies and my 1
Virtual
penny.
Okay,
So 6 pennies on that one.
Oh, there's your one.
I didn't hear you. I had it. Oh my god.
He was 1 short, so he drew that.
And then after that, I had for fiscal responsibility for a lot of the same reasons that have already been said. The UAB, other districts in the area facing those hardships. I think I put 5 on there. I think that should be a continued focus for us. And then I put 4 on both of these. District culture, I think that's incredibly important and feeds back into everything. I feel like headed in the right direction there. Like Nick said, in the past those might have been different. And then advocacy, in this era, I think it's important that we put a focus there and continue to be able to advocate for ourselves. And then I had put 2 on policy and legal. I felt like that kind of, in some respects, goes with 5, but obviously not as big of a focus there.
Thank you. You've adjusted well to this new role. Oh, good job. Lori.
Okay, well, I have to have things kind of balanced. So what I have 3 with 5 and 3 with 2. And I have 5 pennies on the visionary team, fiscal responsibility, and advocacy. Obviously, fiscal responsibility for the same reasons that have all been mentioned, and that's my job, to help you to manage that piece. I do believe we have come a long way in our visionary team, number 1, but I think that rises to the top for me, because if we're doing things right there, I think it filters down and then affects the student learning, the district culture. And it goes in connection with the legal and policy, but we have a good foundation with IASB to support our board policies and those types of things as well. And advocacy, I have as 5 pennies just because I am a firm advocate in public education, and there's a lot of pressure and a lot of threats against that right now. And I think that it has to be very, very, for me, at the top of the list.
Thank you.
Similarly, and I was gonna say, hey, you're sitting
Are
right
you
next
cheating?
to me, but we have different ones.
Okay.
I
Started
have
putting folders up, you guys, like we used to do in school.
Yes.
I'm looking at my work.
So I have 3 5s and 3 2s. Student learning, I just feel like is most important. Not in relation to how things are going right now, but just in general for the school board. Similarly, fiscal responsibility, having the trust of the people that are entrusting us with the money that goes towards the things we need. Super important. And then all kind of ties back to enrollment, of course, and district culture helps enrollment, as well as student learning does. So those were my 3 main points. The others are also very important, but as many had mentioned, I feel like we've got the visionary part right now going really well, and in these other areas, aside from the advocacy, I think that's to come yet. But so those were my 2, and policy and legal kind of could have been a 1 for me, I guess.
Quickly for me, I have 3 pennies and a visionary, and the reason I have 3 is because I don't have any in student learning and district culture. Not that they're not super important, but I believe that if we're doing the visionary part right, student learning and district culture, those are going to be optimal. We're going to get to where the board expects us to be. I view myself as the superintendent. Those are really important pieces for me, and it's my responsibility to keep the board calibrated with the direction we're going, and give opportunities for input in those 2. For policy legal, I have 4. Of course, that's always going to be a big piece to the board at the governance level to stay on top of anything policy related. I have 10 for fiscal responsibility. It's what keeps Lori and I up at night. Being able to bring information to the board that says we're going in the right direction, and this is our proof of, these are our numbers, this is where we're trending. It's really important for Lori and I to be able to get back to the way it was at CCA for a long time, and the answer was yes, a lot of the time. Like in my speech, for those of you that were there, doing the right thing sometimes is the most unpopular thing, but it's explaining the why behind it, and that's kind of where we're at in year 2 still. With the end goal of being able to get back here in a couple of years to being able to say yes. We just got to get through the ick as we're continuing to grow so we can get our UAB balance. So that's why I have 10 there. And then advocacy, of course, we know, getting to some of the events we went to last year, advocacy is super important, especially from your level. The connections we make with legislators and people out in the community, it's really important. And again, I tied that to my message for our staff, because protecting our brand is really the best way the majority of our staff can advocate for public school education. It's really easy to get caught up in all the things we're not doing 100% right. Instead of using that mindset, what are we doing really well, and then communicating that out. So that's why I have 4 there.
Thank you. And Allison.
Okay, I'll start. For visionary team, I put 2 pennies. I feel like we're, in the past year, I think for those of us who have been on multiple years, I feel like we really are gelling well. Things are going well here. And then I also feel like, I know especially it's, I feel fortunate to be leading the board as president. I'm just falling over to say that. And I just feel like for me, I always want to keep that visionary team on there, because I know in my position there are often more communications to me, and remembering to always make it a team effort and include everybody in decision making. So that to me is at the forefront of my mind. For student learning, I had 5, and that's because I want to make sure we talk about it more at the board table. So I have no doubts that it's happening. I have no doubts that it's excellent. We're number 32 in the state of high schools, which is great. But I think the more that we talk about it here at the board table or do little activities like they do in the classrooms, the more the educators know we're invested and we care, just as much as we do about football fields or scoreboards. Number 3, I had, for district culture, I had 4 pennies there, because I'm hesitant to take any away, because we've had huge culture change in a good way in the last 12 months. But I probably just keep some there because it's still an area I want to make sure we're focused on. Number 4, I put 1 penny on policy and legal. I feel like IASB, Lori, Aaron, they keep us where we're supposed to be on that guidance. So I'm not feeling like it's at the forefront. 5, fiscal responsibility. I had 4 pennies there. There would be more if I was in Lori or Aaron's seat, but I feel like as a board, we get really good guidance there. And so I just think as a board, we can rely on them and move forward. It's really important, but doesn't have to always drive decisions if we can stay in our kind of governance role and rely on those recommendations. And then last, advocacy, I had 5. And this one to me, yeah, I feel like I haven't done enough of this from a public education lens, and I feel like as board members, it's our job, like we are a board of public education, and growing up in Iowa, we were like one of the best states for education, and we've seen that number fall, and that's tied a lot of times to legislation because of funding. And so I think it's scary to talk about it and advocate because it's become such a political issue, but at the end of the day, it's what the kids need because that's the best for our future. And so being willing as a board to say that, especially as one of the fastest growing districts in the state, people listen, they see what we're doing, and we have to remember that that's a privilege and we need to speak up for all the students.
Thank you. It's a very impressive group, very thoughtful and articulate, and hopefully it gave you an opportunity to have conversations that you might not have otherwise, or to even think about your own work on the board and what's most important for you. And then collectively, as our data collector will I'm sure share, as a collective board, what is most important to us and where does the focus need to be? So there are a lot of strategies that you can kind of get to that, but this is just a way to do it individually, to talk about it, to see it visually, and then as Allison has done, to capture it for the board. So thank you so very much for spending this time, and you're welcome to continue the conversation. I will take the pennies back.
All 21 of them.
Make sure they get, yes, the right kind of needs back.
But you're welcome to continue the conversation and help yourself to treat. But again, it's been my pleasure to be with you. I am going to try to get home ahead of the deer and the dark.
I know, I realized I said that out loud. I was like, oh, we're online. I hope she doesn't care that I'm announcing she wants to drive before it's dark out. But.
I don't see that well at night, and we're leaving for Colorado first thing in the morning.
Oh, geez.
I'm fully packed, but my husband, who's supposed to be fully packed at home, I'm guessing isn't quite yet. So I think home do a little coaching.
I don't like driving in the dark either.
Yeah, I just don't see well in the dark.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Just to
Pass that down.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's do a bathroom and treat break.
Hey, Brayden,
Yeah.
you should put this one in your bag.
Yeah, there you
Did you
go.
mix them up?
No, I got it right here. Thank you.
Favor the headache.
What a team effort,
There we go.
right?
Way to go.
Fiscal responsibility right there.
Yes, right?
Wayne's gonna do yard work and I'm gonna, Emily and I'm going to flower arrangements.
Doing what you like, that's the most important thing.
We're out in Colorado?
She's just outside of Denver in Lakewood.
Oh.
But yeah, so we're doing
Oh, that'd be fun. She's
Thank
doing
you
well.
so much.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah, she is, yeah. She's got a little side business staging houses, so she just sent me this. And if she just doesn't do room, so she sent me another.
That was not on the roof.
Oh, that's perfect.
Don't feel strange.
Yes, I'm just.
I don't get far enough ahead.
It's just hard to hear.
I'm really excited for this one, for Thea to go next door to 93 and ask for the questions. Oh my God.
I know, I should give you a preview.
I
I have the first 20 pages. Bye, Theo. Take care.
Excuse me.
Too excited. Got a plate.
Thank you, great seeing you again.
Yeah, good to see you. I hope your daughter continues to do well.
Oh my gosh, Nick,
I had to go to you and I.
Yeah.
Wouldn't do it.
Well, I'm sure she's.
Poor Nick.
No, you're good. I'm like slowing down. Good to see you. Take care. And your son as well. Nice to meet you.
Yeah,
Take
nice to
care.
meet
Good
you.
to see you. Yep, take
Have
care.
fun in Colorado, Denise.
Take care. The baby, we'll have to catch up for real.
We will, yes, we do need to do that.
But yeah.
Nick, I saw she got off okay. Did she have a good few days?
That is the most difficult part as a parent.
Oh, it is.
So first of all, yeah, it helped. There was a huge storm when we were there.
Oh.
But it was a big downdraft right over town, so it was almost like a mini tornado.
Oh my gosh.
So we moved her in, and we were out for lunch, and while we were there, it hit, and like the Meineke across the street, the pole sign fell
Holy
down.
smokes.
There was flooding out in the street. Cars were floating.
Cedar Falls?
Goodness.
No, this is in Normal, Illinois.
Oh.
And trees were down everywhere.
Oh my God.
So electricity was out. So all that kind of just took some emotion away. And
Yeah, because you're
True.
so it was,
Survival mode. yeah.
so that actually helped. But nope, everything's going well so far for her.
Good. She's living in dorms?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is it her first week this week?
Yeah. So classes started on Monday.
That was the hardest part. It was unexpected.
Yeah.
Especially with your first, when you pull away. Like that was really.
Yeah.
I bet.
I was telling somebody else today, it's a little numbing, but then now it's like, because we're only a week out, it's like she's at camp. It's like she's at summer camp.
Mm-hmm.
And so even though I keep telling myself that that's not, until I
Oh, it's you. Yeah, superintendent report. I won't skip you.
Okay, summary, again, I noted, again, the high school being listed in the 26, 27 best high schools. Being 32nd out of 345 really, in essence, put us in the top 9.2% of the districts in the state. Being in the top 10 is definitely something that is something to celebrate as a district. And also knowing that, hey, we're in the top 10, now let's see if we can get to the top 5, see what we can do in our system. And I told at our exec committee meeting today, I was gonna dive in to see kind of where we're at in elementary. My understanding before I got here, we got an elementary, at least recognized in the same publication. So I will get that information, I'll just put that in my Friday update. I wanna give a shout out, if you've seen a posting that Lori Hammond pushed out, to the Grantwood AEA physical therapist, Kayla Priest, and Iowa City Bike Library volunteer, Steve Merkel. He spent 5.5 hours of their own time building some adapted bikes for our middle and high school students that are in year 5 PE. Really cool. They definitely deserve a shout out and it's much appreciated. Megan Clark, as our Director of Special Services, was really impressed by them, as was I. The 26-27 school year is upon us. New teachers started this on Monday, or excuse me, new teachers started on the 10th, and our rest of our staff, 600 plus, started on the 17th. Some of the board members were at the breakfast and the opening talk. I think it was well received and that the staff are ready to go. Special thanks specific to Monday morning to Abdurrahman for stepping in for Allison. I did a great job, and to the Hills Bank for generously donating breakfast this year. That goes a long way, and it's something that Hills Bank doesn't have to do, so we're definitely appreciative of that. Not only their gift of a dollar amount for food, but also their team is there to help make sure it's a good experience for our staff. So kudos to them, and hopefully they'll continue to be a partner with us. My last enrollment update is going to be coming on August 28th. I'm happy to report that we had a slow start. Not really sure why. We'll dive into that, but enrollment numbers are looking promising again this year. So we'll have that last update to you a week from this Friday. Our fall sports teams have all kicked off their season. Current participation numbers are awesome, which we want to continue that. I've noted the girls swimming, who has 10, football has 88, volleyball 71, boys cross country with 35, girls cross country with 18. So in total, that makes 99 girls out participating and 123 boys participating in our fall sports. So those are great numbers, and I am confident that Jake and Ashley will continue to grow our programs, leading the way to help support our coaches and student athletes. As a reminder, our first day for students is this upcoming Monday. As a staff, we're anxiously awaiting their arrival and are ready to go. And I'm going to do something, Allison's asked me about this. I think it's going to be something that's a little bit different. On top of the activities calendar, I talked with Mr. Moody today to try to get 1 or 2 activities or events that happen in each one of our buildings this school year that may be like big ticket items. And I'm going to share that information with the board, because again, I think it's always great when board members can get in and people can put a name to a face besides attending virtually or face to face every once in a while. For you guys to be in a building, it goes a long, long way. And so we're going to have that to you here, hopefully by the September board meeting. That's all I have.
I'm really appreciative of that. Getting those, because I think what happens often for me is I see something get posted on Facebook that's really cool that we're doing in the district, and I'm like, dang it, I wish I could have gotten to that in person. And I know it's on the district calendar, but there's so many great things, so that'll be helpful. And okay, I was like that boys cross country number. The other day I saw this mass of teenage boys running in Tiffin, and I thought it had to be the football team. But then I was like, I don't think so. Like, there's not as many as the football team. It was the cross country team. That's a huge cross country team.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Robertson does a really good job with this program. So.
Yeah, it's amazing. I was like, oh, that explains that group of boys.
Yep.
Any questions for Mr. Davidson?
Of those numbers, did we see any 8th graders? Yeah, with the new.
I would assume that would be on my radar. Nothing has been brought to my attention that we have any players participating. And I kind of on the tail end of that, where Jake and Ashley and Tom make sure I have that information. So if and when that happens, it will definitely be included in my Friday update.
Cool.
Okay, Lori, finances.
So we are at that time of the year where we're wrapping up fiscal year 26, preparing for our 3 annual reports that are due September 15th. And then once those are complete, we can begin to develop our line item budgets. And so I know everyone is very anxiously waiting to see where we're at as far as our UAB. I do have to say, you still have yours, that remember, this is a snapshot in time. It will change tomorrow. And so don't panic. There's a little red number on there, but don't panic at this moment. Whoops, I'm sorry, Nick. I need to throw that
Probably
in.
not to panic unless Lori tells me to panic.
Okay, so the numbers I'm just going to highlight a few numbers for us there on the front, the monthly reporting side of it all. The numbers to kind of monitor, and I'll tell you why they're not final yet. So in that first box, that's where our little negative number is as far as what is projected. 2 things. We have about 1.3 million in outstanding revenues yet that have not been recorded. which is typically special ed tuition for our students, other district students coming in, and also open enroll. Now, again, that's not panicky because many districts now are having their board meetings at the same time we are. They need to have their items approved, and then we will receive the check. So between now and the end of August, we anticipate about 1.3 million more dollars coming in. So if you add that in, it makes that 45.9 look a little bit different. The other thing I want to point out there is we feel pretty confident that most of our expenditures have been made. Now, there's always a few surprises that come in. And so that number, the 356,185 is a pretty concrete number at this point. And I will point out that that is about 160,000 less than what we had budgeted. So I think that's a highlight. That's a good spot for you to see, okay? And so as that 45,907 increases, obviously that little red number is going to get smaller, okay? Just for the high level stuff at this point. And that also reflects in the very bottom box where our solvency ratio, again, right now that looks a little bit low, but when we add in our additional revenues, there's also journal entries that have to take place yet for the end of the year, which will also have an impact on that. So that's where we are. Again, the red number definitely is something that we'll continue to monitor, and I will, again, as we get closer, once we file September 15th at this, all the numbers will be final at that time, and so our September meeting will go into great detail about where these all ended up as final, okay? But again, this will change tomorrow, I can guarantee. On the flip side is the back side, and this is where we have our 4 categories where we set our budget and then we amend our budget in May. And so the fiscal year 26 certified budget are the numbers, the amended dollar amounts. And as you can see, all of the numbers on the right-hand column are all in the black. And so that means we've stayed within within our budget in those 4 categories that we're required to by law. And I don't see those changing much at this point. So that's a good thing. That sometimes we've had those in the audit in the past where we have overspent our certified budget limits. So it's good to have those all in the black. So, any questions? Again, it will change tomorrow. So.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Board report. Has anybody attended meetings? Let's either be the library.
Bridge and I were at
Foundation. Update.
Golf thing got canceled again.
Oh yeah.
They moved to September. Can't remember the date.
I didn't hear an actual date.
Yeah,
When
it's
it
September.
moved
Oh.
to.
You got moved to September in a different course.
Oh, has that been sent out yet?
It should be soon.
Okay.
It hasn't. But I haven't had a chance to visit with Mike, so.
Okay.
He said Tim, he just shot me a text saying it was rescheduled
Okay.
one more time.
Yeah.
It's been a rough August.
Just put it at 3. It'll be the hottest, most humid thing you've
Yeah.
ever had.
True.
But it'll be sunny. So.
Well, no, so my husband is actually, I made him sign up. I was like, you'd love to golf, go do this. And they ended up, then Amana like cleared off and they went and golfed at 10 because the golf course then was like, oh, I guess we can have some people come, like, and so they he had taken the day off work already.
Oh, that's
So he's like, I guess we'll go get a round in Amana. And I was like, shoot. But they couldn't have started at 8. Yeah. So, okay.
Looks like they're looking at Blue Top Ridge at Riverside Casino.
Oh, cool.
That's where it's gonna be.
Super nice.
It sounds like all the places all the golfing outings in the district probably. Well, I guess Amana's the only one in the district.
There
They
was no other dates.
Yeah. Anything else in the foundation?
No, I mean, that's kind of where the focus has been right now on that event, and it's just been pushed.
Mike talked about the survey we talked about, and it was a joint board coming out.
Oh, yeah, they were throwing that around about putting that out.
I think I mentioned to you guys after if we're gonna try to do the yearly or twice a year, we're gonna try to get the boards together, foundation and ours. But we also, I was able to touch base some with Jack, and I don't know if he brought this up at the meeting, but the foundation board leadership and our board leadership are gonna have quarterly like coffee check-ins as well, just to kind of keep each other informed of what's going on and keep things moving and everyone on the same page. So we'll keep you, the first one's in October, so it's not for a while, but I was gonna have to email you guys about that, but now I told you.
Nice.
Yeah. One less thing for me to forget, you guys. Okay. Well, then we'll go ahead and move into our action items for the evening. So first, item A is to approve the revised 2026-27 school calendar, and the recommendation is to approve it as presented.
Motion.
Second.
Edith, questions or discussion here? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item B is to approve the pay app number 1 Blackhawk roof for the CCE roof replacement. The recommendation is to approve pay app number 1 to Blackhawk roof for the CCE roof replacement in the amount of $358,841.80.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or discussion here? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. C is to approve pay app to Peak Construction for the high school, middle school additions. So the recommendation is to approve pay app number 1 to Peak Construction for the high school, middle school additions in the amount of $270,640.64.
So, second.
Questions, discussion here? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item D is pay app number 2 to Peak Construction for the additions. The recommendation is to approve pay app number 2 to Peak Construction for the high school, middle school additions in the amount of $881,856.47.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions here? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item E is to approve pay app number 8R to Tricon Construction for the softball fields, phase 2. The recommendation is to approve pay app number 8R to Tricon Construction for the baseball softball complex, phase 2 in the amount of $27,060.12.
Motion.
Second.
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item F is to approve Modern Companies, Inc., the Amana Elementary boiler replacement. The recommendation is to approve Modern Companies, Inc. quote of $69,343.39 to replace the boiler that provides heat to the pool area and adjacent locker rooms.
Motion.
Second.
Questions, discussion here?
This is on our chart, right?
Our facilities? Yep. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item G, we're going to move into approving board policy revisions. There are a lot, so I'll read them all, and I'll try to go quickly. So first, we have, the recommendation will be to approve the board policy revisions as recommended by ISB and district administration for 201 Board of Directors elections, 210.05 meeting notice, 401.01 equal opportunity employment, 501.15 open enrollment transfers procedures as a receiving district, 502.03 student expression and student publications code, 503.01 student conduct, 507.02 administration and medication of students, 603.01 basic instruction program, 603.03 special education, 603.06 physical education, 604.01 private instruction, 604.05 religious-based exclusion from a school program, 607.01 student guidance and counseling program, 713 responsible technology use social networking, 80405 stop prescription medication supply, and 901 public examination of school district records.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or discussion here? Maybe nobody knows this. I remember I did have one question. For the board of directors elections, because it says you have to file it with a county. Do we know for ours, since we're in 2 counties, that mean we have to file paperwork at both counties?
Typically, it all goes to the one county. Johnson County is considered our control county.
Perfect.
Yep.
Okay. Good to know. Okay. Anybody else?
They're gonna love that.
Yeah.
I hope they have staff to provide those services, but we'll see. It's great. I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 8 is approving board policy review. So recommendation is to approve board policy reviews of 40902 employee leave of absence and 70404 gifts, grants, and bequests.
Motion.
Second.
And so these are just regular up for review, correct? Yeah. I did have a question then about the gifts, grants, and bequests. I still am wondering if we want to, and I don't know if we can amend it here, I'd have to bring it back, if we want to increase the amount from 5,000 to a larger amount, so we don't have to have those separate action items all the time. I don't know what amount we'd go to, but
I'm okay with the 5,000 because it also gives us a chance to recognize.
oh, that's true, like there's more time
It's true.
when it's bigger. Their own action, their own item on the thing, and we say there, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, I'd love if we just had a plethora of those.
Well, I know, because you guys don't have to read them all. Okay, you're right. Okay, fine, I'll read. Okay, sounds good. Any other things here? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now we have the approving board policy second reading. Recommendation is to approve second reading of board policies 50311 disruptive behavior, 50406 student activity program, 60504 technology and instructional materials, 70506 federal awards compliance, and 70604 time and effort reporting.
Motion.
Second.
Questions or discussion here?
So we'll get back to the normal policies, hopefully. Start next month. This summer's been crazy. It's kind of been a talk of the superintendent networks as well, legislative changes. And just so you're aware, even though we're approving second readings, which most districts are doing for 50311, 50406, and 60504, it would not shock me once we get into the school year if there's some amendments. So we have to bring that back and do some updates, simply because how it plays out in the field may not be exactly how legislators who make some of the decisions thought it would play out. So it just wouldn't shock me, but we'll bring that back to the board if and when it gets there.
That reminds me of like the chronic absenteeism policy that we had to approve and keep going back and, okay,
It's gonna be, I don't have a crystal ball, but I would guess it could be something.
okay. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item J is accepting donation from Amana Society for the Amana Magnet Program. The recommendation is that we accept the $10,000 donation from the Amana Society for the Amana Elementary Magnet Program.
Motion.
Second.
Any question, discussion? Thank you, Amana Society.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item K is to approve our consent items. The recommendation is to approve the consent items as presented.
Second.
Questions or discussion here? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, and so now we're gonna move to closed session as provided in section 21.51I of the Open Meetings Law for superintendent evaluation.